Good afternoon. Welcome, Kent Bain with 9 Business Group and Elevate Your Business Chat. We have the pleasure of Tracy Borenson joining us today. Tracy, please introduce yourself. First name, last name, your company name, what you guys do, what makes you different, and why people buy from you.
Sure, Ken. Thanks for having me. My name is Tracy Borenson of TLB Coaching and Events. And at TLB Coaching and Events, we are all about creating relationships and creating spaces where people can be themselves with the goal of creating digital influence at the end of the day. So digital influence, it's kind of a complex topic because one of the things that people don't think about often enough when it comes to digital influence is what is the impact? What is the goal of me showing up in the digital space? And without that knowledge, we really don't have a map of where to go. So it's about figuring out what's the purpose of showing up, where do we want to go, what impact do we want to make, and then how can we get there in a way that is authentic for us. So I believe a culture of a business is like an organism. It includes every single person who participates as part of that business. Everybody contributes to the culture. The culture is what creates the overall brand experiences for people. So when we can work together as a team to figure out what do we want to do and how are we uniquely going to go there, then we have the ability to figure out, okay, now we know that, how are we going to show up so that we can accomplish that at the end of the day.
Fantastic. Okay. How long have you been in business?
I have been in business since March of 2019. I started out a lot with a greater focus in like marketing services. And as time went on, I realized that I have a zone of excellence when it comes to marketing services, but my zone of genius is in creating spaces for people to be their authentic selves. So hence the transition.
Cool. Love it. I'm looking forward to learning more. In those 3 or 4 years, what was your biggest challenge? How did you overcome it? And what's the result today?
My biggest challenge was trying to do things other people's way, failing at that, and then thinking there was something wrong with me. Like that there was something wrong with me, which is why it didn't work. And one of the things that I've realized through the evolution of my personal brand is that there are things that work for certain types of people because they are that way. And there are things that don't work for people. Hence why there's so many different types of marketing and sales tactics that people can use to be successful in business. So for a really long time, I was part of coaching programs and worked with coaches who gave me systems to execute, and I just couldn't do it. And for a long time, I thought that meant that there was something wrong with me. And now I realize that is just not a good fit for Tracy and Tracy's brand.
So the summary is that you had to find your niche and your voice and own it. Yes. Versus trying to be the next Me Too marketing company. So it's really about owning your voice and your message.
Yes. The whole Me Too thing, in marketing is just the whole point of marketing is to stand out from the crowd. So when we get to the point where everybody's selling like, just do this, and everybody will just do the same thing, we are not standing out from the crowd anymore.
Well said. Beautiful. So what is one thing you know now that you wish you would have known back then when you started in business?
Need to just do me. And I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, we start off in this place where we don't really know what that is. And so we default to these other people do this way. It's been successful for them. So let's do that. But what I've learned is that that's okay, as long as you're looking at it from the perspective of trying it on, right? Like that's what someone else did. Let me try it on and see if I like it. And if I like it, then I can keep going with it. But if it doesn't fit, it doesn't mean you have to do it. Yeah. You can try it on and let it go. And that's probably one of the greatest superpowers I feel like I have now.
Nice. Well said. What are the 3 biggest challenges that you or your industry face in the next 18 to 24 months?
Oh man. Well, I feel like the people industry is going through like a huge transformation right now. So there's like all the conversation about hybrid work. There are a lot more people who are interested in doing things their way than historically there have been, really. And so it's a great opportunity. And it's also a challenge in the fact that when there's so much opportunity, it can be really easy to become just one of the crowd, right? Like, I'll just take this and take this and take this and take this. And that can lead to your business not really reflecting you again at the end of the day. It's just like, oh yeah, this person needs me, right? And you're like, but do I need them? Right? Like, is that a good reflection of my brand? Is that the kind of client I want to have? And so that's the biggest challenge I see. And also being able to stay focused. Are you a personal branding coach that does one-on-one coaching? Are you a HR consultant whose job is to bring this into like the workplace? Are you, like, I identify as a digital influence coach. And so that means like I see my job as working with sales and marketing to create influence. And there's lots of other places where that can exist. So staying focused and staying committed without getting too overwhelmed by potential opportunities, I think is probably the biggest challenge going into the next few years.
I think we can take that advice and give it to every business out there, is stay focused. Find that thing that's your jam, your voice. Colleague of mine put it once, work your flame, not your wax.
Yes, exactly. It's the exact same thing as focusing on your strengths instead of your weaknesses, right? Yep. Every single business has a unique selling proposition, right? Like, what is yours? And focus on that. Don't try and be this and that and that and that and that and that, because pretty soon you become nothing to nobody.
All right. So what's your definition of a successful business?
My definition of a successful business for me is a business that reflects myself. So one of the reasons I went into business for myself in the first place was because I wanted to spend more time with my son, who is now 4. And I find so much joy and challenge and lots of personal branding knowledge, in fact, in my time spent with him. And it's something I'm not willing to negotiate anymore. This is something that's important to me. So for me personally, financial goals are important, but if they mean that I have to trade my time away with my son, the whole point of this is so I can spend time with my son. And so successful for me is that I maintain a certain amount of working hours, but also that I feel like I am making my contribution. Because for so long when I was working in corporate world, I was making a contribution, but it wasn't one that was meaningful to me. And at the end of the day, I'm going to use my time, which is not 40 hours a week, to make a meaningful contribution to the world. This is something I'm called to do, that I can provide insights and inspiration to a wider group of people instead of just sitting and posting corporate social media posts on someone else's businesses. So yeah, that's what's successful for me. And I really do believe that every business needs to look at, what does success look like for us? Because almost never is the definition of success for a business the same as someone else's business.
So really, in summary, comes down to a successful business achieves the objectives of the people in charge, personal objectives. So it's a vehicle to achieve what you want in life. Mm-hmm. And then your second definition is just as meaningful, which is a meaningful contribution to the community or to the workplace or to your clients.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I believe that every business started with that, right? Like there was an impact that they wanted to make that was different than what they had seen in the market. And then we start to get big and tactical and hiring and all of these things. And we forget that at the end of the day, this is the point. And if we can keep that alignment with our teams as they grow, then we have a whole bunch of people invested in the same impact. And that's really what takes people places.
Nice. Well said. Last question, my favorite one. What do you want to be known for?
I want to be known for creating spaces where people feel like they can be themselves. That's it.
Full stop. Love it.
Come, be yourself. That's it.
So good. So well said. Short, concise, to the point. So to wrap this all up, where can people find you? Where can get more information? If they want to learn more about for them to find their own authentic self, how do they find you?
they find me on LinkedIn primarily. So Tracy Borison, you can find me on LinkedIn. I create a lot of content, articles, posts, just little prompts for us to remember to be ourselves on there pretty consistently. I also have a website. So if anybody is looking for more information on like, what does it actually look like to figure out myself and my business and its unique selling proposition, and then take that into the digital marketplace so that we create influence instead of just touches, check out my website, tlbcoaching.com. And there's tons of information there, and even book a discovery call. I'm always excited to have a chat with people. One of the things I don't believe in is just selling. I believe in helping people when there's a need that I can help with. So if anybody's interested in even exploring for themselves, what does digital influence mean and what could it mean to me? Connect with me on LinkedIn, book a discovery call on my website. I would love to chat.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Been a great visitor, great guest. Thank you very much for your time and have an amazing week.
Thank you, Kent.